So here is the thing that with Tableau that seemed to puzzle students. Everything seems so easy, but there is, because the computer does the algorithms behind the scenes, there are some algorithms that decide what you see. So I had a student and was trying to kind of pick out one visualization, and when you click on them in Tableau, they tell you what they need. But in order to understand what they need, you have to understand that they basically automatically they break down your columns in the data into dimensions and measures. So dimensions are going to be city names, states, things like those. Nominal data tends to become a dimension. I think that is true almost 100% of the time with Tableau. So nominal becomes dimension, but that's not true. Sometimes even ordinal data becomes dimensions, and others become measures. So if you have quantitative measures, so if Tableau kind of determines that you have numbers in there, then it will tend to put it under measures. So that's you have to keep that in mind. So some of them will be categorized as dimensions, others as measures. There is a way, if you kind of scroll through this document, but you can find if you look here, you will find the website. Kind of, you'll have to type it in. I could probably save you time if you send me an email, and I will. Let me see. I'll try and post this. So you understand these two things, so dimensions versus measures. So measures will normally be what we call ordinal or not, or quantitative, most of the time quantitative. The other thing, you have blue versus green fields. So green measures, and notice that some of them can be dimensions too, like especially year. They tend, so green is continuous. It's really what you would call quantitative. It falls under the quantitative stuff. Being continuous, it means that there is something between 1 and 2. There's a 1.5 somewhere in there. Blue measures are discrete, so basically that is ordinal. They become ordinal or nominal, especially if there are dimensions. They would be like product name. That's a name, so it's going to be what did I say? They're going to be nominal or ordinal, one of these two. So green tends to always be quantitative, but it can be ordinal as well. And blue is going to be nominal and sometimes can be considered ordinal. So it has an order. So you have different combinations, and they kind of go through it, and they tell you what happens. If you put a continuous field on an axis, you get a continuous representation. So notice that kind of simulates continuity. If it's a discrete, if quantity becomes discrete, and you can change that, then that changes. They will either put it, if it's on the x-axis, I think it becomes something like that. If it's going to be on the columns and rows, then it changes depending on what you do. So, this is on the columns. Looks like the columns tend to become the x-axis and the rows tend to become the y-axis. Again, that's also not entirely true, but you kind of have to go through it. Another thing about continuous is that you always see them aggregated. So something like sum or average, you can disaggregate data and click on that one to get more things. So you can organize the data, putting it up here rows and columns, and depending on what they are, it will change. So here's an example of a column without any row information. If it's a discrete and dimension, then it tends to get categories like that. It looks like a table almost. If it's continuous, then you start to get more continuous information there. So again, please read through this. It's not necessarily going to go that simple. It seems simple, but probably after a little bit of playing with it, it will matter. So things you can do with your data, you can put it on the rows and columns, and you can put it on these marks. So change the marks. They have 5 of them all the time. You can drop it on color, or you can drop it on size, and so forth. And then some visualizations have a 6th one. And then your visualizations are going to be on the right side. And if you mouse over, it tells you what they need in order for that to be enabled. Because sometimes what I've seen students do, you look at the visualization, but it's disabled just because the data is not continuous. So it's the wrong color. They call this the pill. So it's green instead of being blue. Or data is put under dimensions when it should be a measurement. So you may have to redo your data. Sometimes you can tell Tableau what the data is, so you're just declaring. Other times you have to kind of come up with a new calculated column that is the type that you want to convince. So here is also kind of see where you can drop stuff. You can have different pages, which will be different visualizations. You can have different filters in here. I'm not sure for this homework, filters may not help that much. And then you drop data in here, and it will kind of tell you what's happening. So here's an example. They have the sum of sales has been dropped to, I can tell right now, it's too small, to one of these, probably well, I think color. And then you can also have choice to change how the visualizations look like with automatic or not. So Tableau tries to be automatic, but you have to pay attention. Again, look at the difference between being continuous green, being discrete blue. See how the visualization changed. So we went from. So they give you more examples through here, and you will. I think there's a video also in there that explains it. I think there's a link to it to go to the video towards the beginning, but that's kind of my 2 cents on this. It's easy to get started on Tableau, but it's also easy to get lost and run around in circles. You change something, and it's not what you want to change. It changes against something else, so you kind of keep chasing your tail. So try and understand these things: the dimensions versus measures, discrete versus continuous. That's where Tableau and how to change those. You may need to change how Tableau looks at the data. Sometimes it's not possible. Like if your data is names of people, then you won't be able to convince Tableau or anybody that that is a continuous dimension. So you may not be able to use the visualization that you want. You may have to derive some information. So here's the video, understanding field types. Okay, so that's about Tableau. And like I said, just to be fair, and it's going to be a lot shorter, I have Microsoft help seems to go on visualization type. It's possible Tableau has something like that as well, but I think that will help a lot, just not chasing your tail, kind of keep going in circles. So Power BI visualizations, and they kind of go through different visualizations. For more information, click on basic area charts. And they will explain when to use it, what are the prerequisites, how to create it. So they kind of go through each individual ones and how that would look like, how to customize it, what you can customize, and so forth. And so that's pretty much it. Bars and column charts, if you need them. Multi-row. Single numbers. I can hear somebody want to talk. Is that? I just hear white noise, sorry. Or maybe it's just my phone. So you go through all of these charts. Again, I hear some white noise, but nobody. Maybe use the chat. Or maybe it's somebody just, the microphone is engaging by chance. Okay, so that will kind of give you a lot of what you need in a lot of detail. And a lot of these visualizations, the part that probably we don't need in this class as much, I'm not interested in it, is just publishing, making it available to other people to look at your visualization. For the most part, you can just show it to me in class, or you will have to put it in for the homework. You have to put it in your document yourself. So make it kind of make it work that way.